everyone, I'm Alex and I'm the hands behind Lovecraft Crochet. My plushies are for the anxious, depressed, autistic, and neurodivergent. Small enough to travel in a purse, backpack, diaper bag, or even your pocket. You can check out my Facebook page or TikTok to see what patterns are available and stay tuned for the new ones coming out. I also make hats, scarves, blankets, and dice bags for the tabletop gamer or dice goblin in your life. Feel free to order through the page, TikTok DMs, or via email at love.craft.crochet@gmail.com. Now, on to the segment.
Greetings, campers. My name is Shannon, and I am the host of Campfire Ghost Stories, a podcast where I tell you about the ghost stories, cryptids, and legends of our forests and woods. I also share with you about the perfect camping spots nearby so you can get up close and cozy by the campfires. You can keep up to date on new episodes around the campfire on my Facebook and Instagram pages, Campfire Ghost Stories. And I am always on the lookout to hear about your own personal ghost stories. These can be sent to my email, campfireghoststories8@gmail.com. Happy camping!
Due to the graphic and disturbing nature of the crimes discussed, listener discretion is advised. Retrostatic Radio presents Killing 15 Minutes.
Hello and welcome to Killing 15 Minutes, where you get your true crime fix in 15 minutes or less, or your podcast is free. I'm your writer, Sam Rossi, and shortly I'll be handing over a rough draft of a script to my brother, AJ, who hasn't read it, who's most likely has no idea what we're talking about. This should be fun. Good luck, bro. This episode is for Shannon from Campfire Ghost Stories. She's our first patron on Patreon, and this is her episode.
Thanks, Sam, and thank you, Shannon. And thank you to Campfire Ghost Stories. In central Hungary lies a village named Nyagrev. I said it like several times.
I know.
In central Hungary lies a village named Nyagrev, a small farming town of 800 people, southeast of Budapest. Like many other small villages in the early 1900s, Nyagrev was quiet and unobstructive place. With simple amenities, their community was still tightly bound. Elect a doctor where the sick and broken were left with little options. In 1911, Susanna Fazekas came to town. Within 15 years, she would lead a ring of poisoners, a group of women involved in over 300 murders, aptly named the Angel Makers of Nyagrev. When Susanna Fazekas arrived at Nyagrev, it raised concerns. She had a foggy history, her husband had disappeared in mysterious circumstances, and no one knew where she came from. However, she had solid references and experiences as a midwife. Hungary in the 1910s was under a political disturbance. Crushing poverty and no options for women abounded. When World War I started in 1914, with over 9 million men of Austro-Hungarian Empire being drafted, many died. At that point in time, most marriages were arranged, teenage girls to much older men. Divorce was not legal and rarely an option. Many women, at least in Nyagrev, were forced to stay in loveless and abusive marriages, and this was before the men went off to war. They were not alone for long, as Nyagrev was a holding camp for Allied POWs. The men would work the fields in both ways. What? The men would work the field in both ways? Were they having the sex?
They were having the sex. I thought it was a nice little cheeky way of putting it.
Between 1911 and 1921, Fazekas was charged 10 times for illegal abortions. Each time a sympathetic judge would acquit her. She would return to Nyagrev. When the Great War ended in 1918, yes, Sam had to look that up, and the men returned to independent women. Many of the farms soldiers were unable to work. Wives came to Fazekas asking for help with the men in their lives. Fazekas had a simple solution. Was it arsenic? The solution was arsenic. You can't do the...
Let me see.
You can't actually do this now, but what they would do is boil fly strips and skimming off the poisonous residue. During Victorian period, 1837 to 1901, arsenic was used in skincare items as well. Arsenic can happen naturally through drinking tainted water. Arsenic poisoning has the same symptoms as cholera. That one I didn't know, actually. The murderers had no reliable water source. What?
Since the murderers had no reliable water source.
Because they didn't have a reliable water source, they assumed it was a cholera outbreak, not arsenic poisoning. Liberating. Fazekas promised untraceable ways to kill their husbands. She recruited Susie Ola to write the death certifications. She recruited Susie Ola to write the death certificates to hide the real cause of death. Ola, at 18, had poisoned her own husband. Word spread fast and soon bodies started hitting the floor. Not just husbands, but other dependents. Supposedly 45 to 50 murders occurred over 18 years, to earn Nyagrev the nickname of the murder district. One source said that a medical student found a high arsenic level in a man found downriver. Another said that consensus takers noticed the increase in death and notified authorities. Another, Bela Bodo, a Hungarian-American historian, stated that a newspaper received a letter from an unknown source accusing women of the mass murders. Now you just go on to Twitter and it always be, them women be crazy, yo.
Women be crazy, yo.
Why'd my wife divorce me? All I said was all women suck. Whatever happened, the angel makers were... However it happened, the angel makers' jig was up. The authorities exhumed over 50 graves. 46 of them had a high amount of arsenic. Police arrived in Nyagrev to get Fazekas. They found her dead from her own stash. 26 women and possibly one man, depending on sources, were charged. 8 were sentenced to death, however only 2 were executed. 12 received very long prison sentences. The lack of repentance and the drama bored the court. Really, that's it? Court got bored because they were like, nah, we did it. Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, there really is an interesting discussion to be had that as a white male in his 30s, I think I'm specifically allowed to say women are crazy.
Women are crazy.
I mean, you've married one, you know.
Women are crazy.
Men suck, though.
Men are stupid.
Women are crazy, women suck. It's kind of how the world goes. No, other way around. Women are crazy, men suck. But it is actually a very interesting discussion point. Again, it's something that, as a cis, mostly het, white guy, you know,
Yeah.
I feel like this is an attack against me personally. Which it was, because they were in Hungary at the time. There wasn't exactly a diverse group of people, but it is interesting to see that, especially around the turn of the last century. That hurt.
That hurt. Man, I might have to stab you with a pen.
The turn of the early 1900s into the 20th century, you did see somewhat more extreme ways to break archaic cycles.
Okay.
I think is the best way to phrase it. Fazekas was... Well, I'm not in favor of... Or Fazekas.
Fazekas.
I think it's Fazekas.
That's what every other podcast was saying.
Well, also it's... I think we went to school with a Fazekas. I think it.
You might have. I didn't.
I did. But it was spelled completely different. Actually, I don't know. I didn't really look at everyone's report cards. But, well, murder is bad. What was going to... This is an interesting one for me because it is a matter of, if we look at it on a strictly serial killer thing, she pretty much used the town so she could just kill people, tra-la-la-la-la. However, on a deeper discussion point, she opened up their way of being able to enter into the new century and ruffle enough feathers that maybe, and I doubt it happened like immediately or anything, but it was a matter of better independence for women. Now you can argue that no, because it wasn't on that huge of a scale. And then you have
for the women of that area, it was a huge freedom boost.
Yeah, but then Hungary would get absorbed into World War II. Must have sucked. Didn't Hungary? It was part of the German Empire when they tried doing that, but then it got absorbed into the USSR.
I don't think. I don't know if Hungary was. I know Hungary's always been its own country, so it couldn't have been part of the Iron Curtain.
Yes, it could have. The biggest thing that the USSR did, Sam. The USSR was a bunch of Soviet states. Everyone had their separate names. They'd be like saying that, Ohio got to keep its name. Yes, technically it did. But it's under an umbrella. An iron dome, if you will. No, that's a terrible joke. But anyways, the point is that it's one of those things where, and I notice it listening to a lot of things like, Murder Coaster or Campfire Story or even Disgraceland or The Casual Criminalist. A lot of the evolution. Yes, you just Googled Hungary and
What country did Hungary used to be? It was used to be for 6 centuries. It was its own independent statehood.
Yeah.
Before it joined the Habsburg and Ottoman empires.
Right.
So it is Hungary, and it's been Austria-Hungary. Then it became Hungary after World War I, when the Ottoman Empire was split up.
Okay. That doesn't actually answer whether it was a USSR satellite state or not. I think you and I are talking two completely different things. I know Hungary has been called Hungary for a very long time.
It was under the influence of the Soviet Union, but not part of it. As Hungary's...
So Ukraine and NATO, pretty much? Or it's like...
It would be after the war, Hungary was to be included in the Soviet sphere of influence. The HPR, which would be the Hungarian People's Republic, remained into existence until 1989, when communism ended in Hungary.
Neat. So pretty much when communism fell.
So basically when the USSR fell, yes.
Cool. So anyways, this should be a lesson that don't be a dick to women unless you're related to them. I'm kidding.
Well, I don't use arsenic, so...
No, you're too lazy and you would have to cook yourself.
I know. What?
You lazy bitch.
I know.
I don't know if you're keeping that in the cut.
Maybe.
But anyways, like I said, it's one of those things where I think it's horrible. Like, The Angel Makers is one of those really interesting things where if you look at it from a feminist lens, it was progressive to stop a lot of negative things happening.
Yes.
Like all the teenage pregnancies, that is societally okay, and you can't see my air quotes, societally deemed rape. It is coercive, it's statutory on the grounds of, well, it's okay. You know what I mean? And that always sucks. And then you got the war, which a lot of people got fucking shell-shocked to high hell.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just all sorts of, I can't blame her. From a feminist standpoint, as one of the men who would have been poisoned, I'm very pissed off.
I apologize for that.
No, you don't. Anyways, I have nothing else to add.
All right, I'm Sam Rossi.
I'm AJ Carey.
Later, y'all.
I'm going to go eat now.
Killing 15 Minutes is hosted by Arthur Carey, with scripts written and researched by Sam Rossi. If you like this episode or want to stay updated on this series, consider following Killing 15 Minutes on Patreon or Retrostatic Radio on all major social media platforms. Good night and God bless.
You're watching Retrostatic Radio.
Wheel of Random is turn, turn, turn. Tell us the 15 minutes we shall learn.
I'm Sam Rossi, writer and co-host of Randomly 15 Minutes, where the Wheel of Randomness gives me the topic and I write about it.
I'm Megan Klodnicki, and I'm the host of Randomly 15 Minutes. I cold read what Sam writes and learn in real time about a random topic.
You can find us on all major podcast platforms and YouTube.
Follow us on Facebook at Randomly 15 Minutes to get more random facts.